see, what is it saying? Oh, these are comments. Okay. Let me see if, okay. Let me take a look and see. I don't know.
We're on.
Ain't watching. We fixing to find out. That looks like there's an ad that's coming on. All right, I don't know if you can see us or not, but if you can, hold on a second. I'm just going to make sure I have some technical things set
I'm
up.
Dr. Amy Killen. I have my own medical practice, and I've been using Vloy now for a few weeks.
Says started screen less than 1 minute ago. See it, and so you don't have to worry about trying to read it there. It's all going to come up right here. Okay, you got your opening.
Okay. Welcome to another beautiful day in Costa Rica, and we are live for the first time together, other than my husband's little practice test the other day. But we're at one of our favorite restaurants so that we can have some good internet. So you may hear the water in the background, and it's even starting to sprinkle a little bit. So hopefully we won't have a downpour, which can happen at any moment in Costa Rica.
All right. So before we do get started, hey, I'm glad we've already got someone let me know that we're loud and clear. So please do, if you have any issue or seeing, let us know. But like Rebecca said, we're at one of her favorite restaurants called Los Rancheros. This is, well, that's what it looks like. It is a fun little restaurant. They raise their own tilapia. So you can actually catch your own dinner if you want, but they do a super, well, matter of fact, it's probably the best place you've tried so far in Costa Rica that cooks fish the way you like, huh?
Yeah, really well. And this is like a secret place because it's not advertised, and there's not even a big sign at the road or anything like that. And when you drive up here, you think, oh my goodness, is this even a restaurant? But when you come inside, the food is fantastic, and they have nice little seating next to the water. And
that's right. It's a hidden little old spot out here. Now look, Rebecca is very soft-spoken, so if you can't hear her, please let us know, and she can, of course, speak up if necessary. Okay. Right. So once again, like I said, we're here. I see folks are coming in, and the whole purpose of today's YouTube Live, it's our first Q&A session. We came here because the internet is much better. They usually have very fast internet here, which brings us to another topic we're going to talk about, because we're in a very remote location, and you know, you can get internet almost anywhere, but if you live in a remote area, take notes, in a remote area, usually they're not going to have internet, but there's usually maybe a provider. And you know, we have a personal provider. He's an entrepreneur, and he puts up a tower maybe somewhere in the city. The city provides internet way up on a hill or on a mountain somewhere, and then shoot that internet. It's called point-to-point internet in the event you want to research.
Right. The internet has improved greatly in Costa Rica from when we arrived here back in 2013. You can get pretty fast internet if you live. Of course, we've chosen to live up on the side of a mountain in the middle of nowhere, so we have to just deal with it.
That's right. So anyway, today's point is to answer your questions, and we're going to answer as many as we can. Like I said in some of the posts, hey, the more engagement, make sure you hit the thumbs up, like the video, put your questions in the chat box so we can scroll up and down in the chat box and be sure to answer your questions.
Right. And while we do have a lot of experience from having lived here, we do not know everything. There's a lot of things that we have not experienced. So
but if you ask me something that I don't know, I'm sure Rebecca can make something up.
I was just going to say that we won't make it up. You know, if we don't know, we're just going to say we don't know, and we'll give you, you know, the best answer that we can according to our experience. But there is a lot of things to experience in Costa Rica that we haven't had a chance to do. But
that's right.
We may have experienced more areas than the average Tico, I think, because a lot of people that we talk to, they haven't really traveled around very much. And because we wanted to explore the whole country, we made a point of just staying in a lot of different places.
You know, we have probably experienced more Costa Rica than anybody in Costa Rica, including gringos. And that's simply like Rebecca said. You know, we decided to just travel all over Costa Rica in hopes to finding the perfect property, the perfect altitude, you know, and well, gaining all of that knowledge, we at some point decided we would share it with you.
Right.
So, be sure to put your questions in the chat. Matter of fact, I love this because people are always helping each other out. You know, one of our last videos we showed where we compared properties. A lot of people, someone here who said, look, he's been living in Costa Rica for almost 2 years. And if anyone is interested in an apartment, it's only $220 a month in San Isidro. Okay, well, Perez Zeledon, where we're at, he can help you with that. So indeed, hey, thanks so much for sharing that, Bruce. And if we hear someone, we'll be sure to pass it on to you. And there's always lots of people who are needing info.
Right. And people asked us to maybe give price ranges. That's very difficult to do because it's almost impossible to compare.
Why don't you
apples to
pause a
apples.
moment because it looked like
Oh, we're circling. We've lost internet.
looks like it's connecting. So let us know, folks. Always let us know because it looks like it's saying, you know, someone said, but I can't see you. And that, as long as you can hear me, great. That's part of being in Costa Rica. You never know what the internet is going to do. And the reason we came here is your live. We'll be right back right after that commercial break that the Costa Rica gives us.
Okay, well, let's get to answering some of their
All right,
questions.
so I'm going to go up to the top here. And Darren says, hey, tell me about getting a bank account, savings account, and stamping out and in the country. All right, so quick. If you need a bank account, the most important thing that you need to know about getting a bank account is that in most cases, you have to have a Costa Rican corporation. So you would find you an attorney, a good trusted attorney, and that's all stuff that we can advise you of as well. But anyway, you find you an attorney that will normally cost you anywhere from $500 to $1,000 for a one-time fee of setting up your Costa Rican corporation. Once that's set up, I think you got to pay around $150, $200 every year, like any corporation, to maintain. Once you have the corporation, you take it into a bank, and then they will set up a bank account for you, okay? But in most cases, you will not get a bank account without that. Now, if you're trying to get your residency, that's another residency. We don't have it yet, but in the process of getting your residency, you get the paperwork you need to set up a bank account. So that's the only two ways that I know of. So Darren, that's how you get your bank account. Now,
And I guess the greatest advice I can give with things like passports, you know, going to the border to stamp out and getting a checking account is ask more than one person. Ask at least two, possibly three, because it has been our experience, and not just ours, but many of our friends that are here in Costa Rica that we talk with, they've experienced the same thing. You could be told three different answers, unfortunately, if you ask three different people. You know, the banking stuff will vary from location to location, you know, branch to branch. So,
now and what's really important is that, like Rebecca said, you need to ask more than one person when you're getting an estimate because, hey, while we love Costa Rica, the thing that I hate the most is you will get the gringo price, okay?
Yeah.
That's all it is to it. But by asking several different people, then you will get several different prices, and then using your due diligence, intuition, you can choose the person you feel most comfortable with.
right. And I didn't mean just in the case of pricing or, you know, invoices and stuff like that. I meant just for general information. For example, if you go into a branch of a bank and say, you know, can I open a checking account? The person may tell you no. And if you don't think that that is a correct answer, try a different branch.
That's
try a
right.
different person because you will get different answers
That's right.
from different people.
That's right. Now, so the next question was, that's how you get a bank account. And the next question was, well, what about stamping in and out the country? Now, obviously, right now, because of the COVID, we haven't stamped out in over a year, and that's because Costa Rica has allowed everyone to stay in because of that. However, in Costa Rica, the clock has been reset on December 1st. Everyone, and that's to say they don't push it back. Everyone will have to stamp out again on March 1st or 2nd. Excuse me. And the process of stamping out is simply to make sure that you have your passport, several copies of that passport, making sure that you have, you download your banking information. In other words, kind of your banking statement, because they want to see your banking statement to make sure that, okay, there's $500, $600, $700 in there. In other words, you're not going to come over here and be a burden on the system. You have enough money to survive. And if you don't want to show them that, I think you can actually have $500 cash in hand to show them, look, I've got money and I can sustain myself, okay? So you got to have your passport, you got to have proof of cash, and then you have to stamp out, which you will hear many, many, many people say, you have to stamp out for 72 hours. Well, that's not true. You do have to stamp out, which means you have to leave the country. They will require you to get a plane ticket to your country of where you're from. So we're from the United States. We have to get a plane ticket back to the United States. So we have to show that we are leaving. Now, we never get on the plane.
Yeah, we kind of just, there's workarounds.
Yeah,
you know.
I mean, you can buy a ticket and you can get a refundable ticket, but you have to show that you're going to leave the country. So anyway, what I'm telling you, you have to have a plane ticket saying that you're leaving. You have to have your bank account information. You have to have your passport. We will stamp out of Costa Rica, go to the immigration's office of Panama, stamp into Panama. So we have to stamp into that country. Then we'll go shopping. We'll spend most of the day there.
Yeah,
Sometimes
they don't
spend
like you
the night.
to just turn around.
No, you will have all kind of troubles if you try to just leave and then come right back. Do not do that. You know, leave for all day. Spend the night was what I suggest. Come back the next morning. Then you can stamp out of Panama, stamp into Costa Rica, and they will normally give you another 90 days. That is the easiest way to do it. Now, another quick way, and I want to try to answer these questions short and quick so that we can answer as many as we can, but another way is to avoid buying a plane ticket. We would take our vehicle, our motorcycle, we would stamp out of the country the same way, but this time instead of a plane ticket, we tell them that we have our vehicle and we're going to a nearby city. And so we would have to stamp into Panama, but before stamping into Panama, we would have to buy insurance for the vehicle, which lasts 30 days, $25. And then we would stamp into Panama with our vehicle. We could just go all over Panama, have a great time, and then we just come back the next day and we don't have to buy a plane ticket or a refundable plane ticket. But it is important to note, when you come into Costa Rica, you can't come to Costa Rica with one-way ticket. You always have to have a round-trip ticket, and we buy a round-trip ticket and then we just get a refund on the the one-way going home.
Right. And a few things I thought of while he was talking is, if you do go into Panama, they are real sticklers for paperwork. So make sure you have your paperwork in order, because there are a few stop points right after crossing the border or shortly after crossing the border, and they will ask to see your paperwork if they happen to be out checking
That's
at the
right.
time. Another thing I thought of is when we first came, we did come with a one-way ticket. We were not questioned. No one said anything.
We were lucky.
Yeah, because either they changed the law shortly thereafter, or we just got lucky and passed through. But now they will ask for your return ticket. And the last time that I came back into Costa Rica from the United States, I'd never been asked this before. They wanted to know where I was staying. And so, I had to give the name of the hotel that I was staying, and, how long I was going to be there. We actually have a house that we're staying at, but it's hard to get them to understand that. So I just have the hotel that we're staying at for the night and tell them that.
So it does always change, a little bit. So we will be doing a video soon, I hope, that will kind of put it into detail for you. Okay, so the next question here. if you're planning to come, and of course we always suggest that if you're interested in coming to Costa Rica, planning on living, hey, come and visit for a while. There are lots of Airbnbs, so if you go to airbnb.com, you can find places all over Costa Rica, and you can find them very affordable. Lots of short-term rentals, okay? And if you come during the rainy season, which is normally from November until May,
Yes.
then you can get things a lot cheaper, okay? And rainy season's not bad, and it's the perfect opportunity to really look around and get some information. So lots of short-term rentals if you're planning to come and stay for a while.
Right, that's what we use, Airbnb. When we're going to the airport, you know, we come the day before, we stay overnight. We use Airbnb to find a place to stay. So,
Yeah. Now, our next question says, if we're coming to Costa Rica, at this present time, what do we need in order to come to Costa Rica? Well, that's obviously you need your passport, and you need to have a health check. So at the moment, you have to have a health. No, you don't have to.
not a health check.
You don't have to have the
coronavirus
test, but you do have to fill out the health screening, okay? And then right now, you have to buy insurance. And there are several places that you can buy insurance, but you have to have the minimum requirement of insurance. Costa Rica, the last time I looked, and if I remember right, if you bought your insurance from Costa Rica, you had to have a minimum of $20,000. If you didn't buy it from Costa Rica from someone external, it was a minimum of $50,000. So to encourage you to buy it from Costa Rica, then it was cheaper. Anyway, so you do have to have travel insurance.
And we're not sure how long that is going to
Right.
to last.
I feel pretty certain they're going to drop that. But hey, at the moment, right now, that's what you have to have. You got to have your health screening. You got to pass out on the website. You have to have your health insurance and then your passport. So that's what it takes to get in the country at the moment.
And another thing that's not required, but that I would do if you were going to stay for the 90 days, is to make sure that your driver's license is not about to expire.
Yes, very good point.
Yeah, because you will be allowed to drive legally with your U.S., Canada, whatever country of origin, your driver's license. You will not have to get a Costa Rican driver's license. But if it's expired and you get stopped,
Yeah, you're in trouble.
you're in trouble.
Okay. So the next question is, have you heard of the progress of the new residency proposal? So we do have a great video that talks about the proposed law. So if you haven't seen that, look on our website that talks about the proposed law. And we do know that they're working on it, and we do know that they've passed for investors. It used to be a minimum investment of buying a property that you paid at least $200,000 for, and then you could start your residency process. And they've just lowered that to $150,000. That was proposed in the new law, and it did get passed, which tells me, yes, they are working on it.
Yeah, they're
Haven't-
thinking about along
Yeah.
these lines of getting people to come in to move to Costa Rica and live in Costa Rica. So they're thinking along those lines.
Right. The whole purpose for the proposed law, obviously, is to encourage people to come to Costa Rica, to move to Costa Rica, so it can help increase the revenue, okay? So anyway, they are working on it, so I feel pretty good. I feel like they're going to pass it. But that's an update on the new proposed law that we talked about, okay? Hey, Larry here has a great question. Says, who would you trust to help you with applying for residency? And we're going to give out some good information on that, okay? Matter of fact, I have a personal friend. He's a Tico. He's a pastor, super good guy, and he is helping people to get their residency, okay? His name is Pablo, and we'll give you more information on that later. Matter of fact, right now might be a good time to let me ask you guys a question, because there's lots of questions, and want to be able to ask all of you this question. So first off, thank you so much. Y'all are putting in lots of questions, getting lots of great compliments on how you love our videos. So we greatly appreciate that. We really do appreciate your engagement and all your kind words, okay? So let me ask you a question. Obviously, our channel is brand new. It's only about 4 months old, and it's just growing like crazy. And if you've left questions, you know we've worked really hard to try to answer every single question, every single reply. And I honestly don't know how long we'll be able to do that because it's growing so fast with so many people. But got a great idea. Give me your input and please put the answer in the chat box. I'm thinking about building a community, a forum where you can enter this forum and you can ask all of these questions. And so if you ask about residency, there's a whole section about residency and you can get all of your answers right there because I've already answered them one time before. And then as things update, other people are giving their viewpoint, their experience, and there'll even be a section where you can talk to people who are qualified residency people who are helping you with that. You know, you can find out about properties that are for sale and properties that are for rent. You can find out all kinds of great things. So I want to know from you, would you be interested in joining a forum, a community with other like-minded people who are wanting to come over here? Hey, you can be chatting with expats that are already here and they can share their words of wisdom. Hey, do
People
you
like
think,
Pablo,
yeah,
Pablo can get
you
on
can
there
actually chat with other Ticos who want to practice their English, and so they're willing to give you information. So, hey, I'd love to know, do you think that would just be awesome? Do you think it would be great if we did that? And hey, thank you so much. And if you haven't noticed, there's someone just gave us what's called a promoted chat, a monetized chat. And if you look in the chat box, there's a big green box where someone, you know, in order to support us, help us out, gave $5 and said, thank you. So thank you so very much for your help. And that's just down below the chat. If you choose to support us and help us, you just click the $sign and whatever you give, we are greatly appreciative, okay? But yes, we're getting lots of feedback. People are saying yes, would love it. It would be a great idea.
Yeah,
Great.
We can't hardly.
We have a hard time trying to keep up with everybody. And so, but you know, we really try hard to really help you guys. And you know, that's our whole goal. We really wish we'd had someone to help us the way we're trying to help you. Okay, so let me go back up to the questions here. That's good to know. I'm so glad to know that you think it would be great to have a forum. Okay, now for most of you, I think, you know, if you haven't, where are we located at? Well, we're in the southern central part of Costa Rica. So we're in the Perez Zeledón area, and we're about 3 hours south of San Jose, okay? So that tells you where we're at, and I believe it's one of the best places in Costa Rica because you are
Centrally located.
Yep. You're centrally located, only 3 hours away from the airport, and if there's lots of little bitty areas so that you don't have to live in the city, yet you're a few minutes from the city.
Right. There's lots of outlying communities. You know, some better than others. Some with new builds and some older. But you can find whatever's in your price range. You can find something around outside of the city. If you want to live in the city, there's several rental opportunities in the city. And Alan was saying it's about 3 hours from San Jose, the airport, and it's also about 3 hours from the border at Panama.
That's
Would you
right.
say about 3 hours?
Yeah, it's about 3 hours from the border at Panama.
Yeah.
So
that makes, you know, not that long of a trip if you want to go down to Panama to stamp your passport.
that's right. Hey, thank you, Brian, for that monetized chat. Thank you so much for your support. We greatly appreciate it. Now, let me go back. Go ahead.
Perez Zeledón is, to me, the perfect size city because it's got everything, but it's not so big that the traffic is, you know, terrible. And to me, I don't like to drive in San Jose. The traffic is a little crazy for me. And while they also have everything, it's almost too much. It's at least for my taste. Perez Zeledón is just right for me. So.
Yeah, Perez Zeledón is really, really nice. San Jose is a big city that I hate. Just lots of traffic, but I'm not a city person.
Right.
If you're a city person, you might love it, you know.
But even Perez Zeledón can have some traffic jams at times. You know, when it's like 4:35 in the evening, I try to stay away from the city at that time because there's a lot of traffic on the main road. But if you go further down south, where we started out, like the Sabalito area, close to the border, it's really rural. And you can't find everything there, but you're close enough to Paris Celadon. But there's no traffic jams.
No, there's
now
no
you-
traffic jams. There might not be any sidewalks. There's no traffic lights.
No, but
There's
you
no
might-
stop signs.
You might be held up by a herd of cattle
That's right.
or a tractor that's hauling some sugar cane, or just so it's very rural and agricultural.
Yes.
So, but if you're looking for the peace and quiet, and just-
Peaceful. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you can just find yourself in the middle of a paradise there.
Now, another great question from Yanri says, someone told me that they went there about 2 weeks ago, or they went there for 2 weeks, and there was a COVID test at the airport that no one tells you about. Is that true?
There was.
There was. But Costa Rica now does not require a COVID test. Prior to coming in, they did require a COVID test at one point in time, but now they don't. So,
Okay, but we're getting that from a
no, I actually saw that, and that was listed on the Tico Times.
I know, but we know how things go. It might say that in Tico Times, and one agent at the airport has decided that they're going to.
And that is true because, things will change in a moment in Costa Rica. But they are stating several places that they're not requiring the test. So we shouldn't have to run into that problem again, okay? Okay, another one asked, well, if we live here, no, someone else asked Bruce a question, how far is their place from the water beach? And Bruce's place is in San Isidro, so he would be 1 hour away from the beach. So I hope that answers your question, Irene, and I might be pronouncing that wrong. And I pronounce a lot of things wrong. I'm going to blame it on the braces. It might not be, but I am anyway. I caught her. She was like, no.
I'm not perfect at it either, but for goodness sakes, he really butchers some of the names.
Yeah, I might actually butcher some stuff. So anyway, okay, Irina, she asked, can I do Zoom lesson former? And I think the question you're asking is that if you're here, yes, you can do Zoom lessons, and maybe you're a teacher or an instructor. So I hope I'm asking that question. If I didn't answer that correctly, hey, just rephrase the question for me so that I can answer that, okay? I'm going to let you answer this one, Rebecca. Karen says, I know you both work online. How do you handle the internet outages? We grin.
We grin and bear it. Sometimes we get in our vehicle. If I have a deadline, the work that I do there are not a lot of deadlines, but sometimes I do have to do payroll and payables, and there are deadlines for that. We've been in situations where we just have to get in the car with our laptops and go to drive to a restaurant and just order food, order drinks the whole time that we're there so that we can get our work done.
That's right. And so it's kind of like, a lot of times, in the past, we told you we have videos going up every Thursday, and I'm a stickler for doing what I say. But you know what? If the internet goes out, it goes out, and then it puts me behind. And I've literally come to this exact restaurant because the internet went out all day, and I worked here for hours and managed to get the video up just in time.
Yeah, that was something. But barring any, like a storm, like what we've had recently where there were a lot of landslides, barring that, I would say that the internet just goes out for short periods of time. Not sure why, but it's pretty obvious why when there's a pole that's down, a landslide takes out maybe a tower or something. Okay, that's obvious, and we expect that. But there are little short outages sometimes when there's no bad weather. We kind of laugh about it. We just say, well, I guess a sloth is crossing over the line, and messing with the internet. So, but there are ways to handle it. We go somewhere. People
That's
are
right.
very nice. Oh
Now,
my goodness, they're so friendly. So.
What has happened here recently, which is very exciting to me, is that, which goes to your question, how do you handle outages? Here recently, they have been installing free Wi-Fi at the
I forgot about
public
that.
parks. And when I say public parks, it's usually right next to a soccer field. So almost every town has a town center at the town center is the Catholic Church. A stone's throw away is normally the football park, and they've been in, and maybe it's a park with flowers and benches, but they are installing free Wi-Fi, which is phenomenal. It amazes me. And I've actually used them, and the internet is surprisingly fast. Text down, 10 megs up. I'm like, get out of town.
Right.
Fiber optic.
Fiber optics. So that's way more reliable.
Yeah, they're
So it
making
should
lots
be-
of improvements. Okay.
It should be getting much more reliable in the future here shortly.
Okay. One fellow says, hey, I would love to have a list of real estate sites, excuse me, from San Ysidro to the Pacific. Okay, and thanks for those that I got last week, which was on that video. And that's a great idea, because what we're going to do, I believe, in that forum is I'm going to put all of those resources in there to make it very easy for you to find all of that
Yeah.
stuff.
And we've thought about inviting the realtors to be a part of the forum so that they
Can help people.
Yeah.
Okay, you know, the realtors that we Trina says to look so young and beautiful, guys. Thank you so
Oh, wow.
much. Is my makeup good today? How's my hair? Well, actually, we both exercise a lot. And we stay young. I'm actually 346 years young today, and I look great for my age, right? So anyway, we eat very healthy. We're
drink
pretty
a lot of water.
Yeah, we're pretty much vegan. We're not crazy vegan. If I want a hamburger, I get one, but hardly ever. You know, I love meat, but we became vegan because of the health benefits. Okay, so anyway, I hope that answers your question. I used to be a full-time personal trainer, so I love to exercise and I love to eat healthy.
Yeah. And
so.
that was one of the big draws, one of the big reasons we decided to move to Costa Rica. We love being outdoors. And when I talked to a friend and she was telling me about Costa Rica, and I started to think about it having the constant weather, the constant temperatures, because that's always been a downfall for me in the States, is you have this great weather where you get all excited and you want to go for walks and runs and so forth, and then here comes the super hot weather in Louisiana, and you know you just drains your energy. Fall comes around, you feel all good again, you start exercising, and then here comes the winter.
Yeah.
So you don't have that problem in Costa Rica, so we can exercise almost every day.
Every day. And another thing is it's really easy to be healthy in Costa Rica because there's lots of fresh fruits and vegetables. So it makes it, you know, and it's very cheap to get all your fresh fruits and vegetables. So that answers that question. Here's a question. You are usually only allowed to deposit $1,500 a month into your account. And that really just all depends. And you're right, Doug. I know on my account, I can deposit more on my account. You know, well, you can deposit all different things. So, and they want to make sure no one's money laundering through an account. And that's the purpose for that, Doug, okay?
In fact, they're required to report to the United States,
Yeah.
well, whoever your home country is. When you open a checking account, you have to sign a paper that says if you know you're releasing them giving them the permission to release information about your accounts to your home country.
Yeah. And Kelly says, any word on the tariff deal? So, Kelly, I haven't heard anything about a tariff deal. Maybe rephrase it, but I haven't heard anything on the tariff deal. So I'm sorry for you there. Brian, he said, I came in late, but I'm not sure if you already addressed it, and that was the updates on the legislation. Yes, we did address that, so you'll be able to see that earlier, and I said that they are working on it, did pass some things, especially the $200,000 to $150,000 for the residency for investors, okay?
We are trying to stay on top of that. Things can take a long time in Costa Rica
Yes.
to go through the law system. It's kind of common knowledge.
Yeah. Kelly has a great question here and says, my wife cannot handle the extreme heat. So what are the best mountainous cities that are truly cooler? And look, as long as you stay away from the beach, you won't have any extreme heat. And if you get anywhere around 3,000 feet in altitude, that's San Vito. You go to any of the mountains around Paris Zeledon where we're at. Wow. Matter of
San
fact,
Jose is a great temperature all the time.
San Jose is cool almost all the time, right?
And San Jose, we say it's, we say it's a big city, but outlying areas or,
There's a
There's
lot
so
of
many.
outlying areas.
Up on the mountains. When you drive out of San Jose, heading like towards the beach, you look up in the mountains that are surrounding, and it's, you know, houses just dotted all over in the
Yeah.
mountains. Really huge houses too.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. And but you don't have to be in the central area. Central area has a lot of great places. However, the central area does have a lot of tourists. But you can be over in Paris Zeledon and be where we're at in Rivers. Wow. I mean, last night I had to put socks on to go to sleep because it was cold,
Yeah,
you know.
it got chilly.
But of course, we got a lot of windows open and things like that. So you really can enjoy cool climates in Rivers and in the Paris Zeledon area, okay?
right. And in Guanacaste, pretty much anywhere that there is a mountain range, anywhere other than right at the beach. Once you start gaining altitude, you know, and what's nice is places like Dominical and even Hanco, they have mountain ranges really close to the beach. Like, I don't know how far to say, but like you leave the beach and within 5 minutes you're starting to get some incline, some
Yeah.
elevation.
But it may not be nearly as cool as the central area or Paris Zeledon. Okay? Now, you know, back to that question on Rebecca said, you know, be sure to ask because you get different answers. Well, Doug brought in a statement because we talked about how they always ask for a return ticket. Okay. Well, Doug says he's got a house in the Montezuma area. That's over on the Nicoya Peninsula. And he says he's never been asked to see a return ticket. That blows me away.
Yeah, I can't even imagine. We've been asked every time.
Every single time except the first time that we came. So you want to have that return ticket because one time, or I think it was the second time, we weren't expecting to be asked for a return ticket because we weren't asked the first time, and we almost missed our flight because I had to rush and buy a return ticket online.
Right. Which meant we had to have the money to buy a return ticket after we'd spent all kinds of money going back home and trying to buy the things that, you know, that we needed to come back to Costa Rica with.
So let me take a look here. Lots of great comments and questions here. Greatly appreciate it. Thanks, folks, for supporting us and helping us out.
And an area, while he's looking at questions, an area that we've not really been to is that we have heard a lot about is the Lake Arenal, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. That area, that is like north of San Jose and is popular with the gringos. But we've not been in that area yet.
Okay, one guy says, how far west of San Isidro does it stay cool? What are other cities' names besides Tinamaste, Baru, Pantanillo, are on the Pacific side of San Isidro where it's cool? And
Okay, well, he named all the main.
I think he did name all the main places.
He named all the main places down that road, that the main road that goes from San Isidro down to Dominical. Now, if you follow the coastal highway, like I was saying, you know, you can go over to the coastal town of Uvita and get up in the mountains there. I'm not sure of the names of the communities. There's no cities there that I know of. But there's lots of little communities, and I've seen lots of houses for sale in that area because it was recently being developed, I guess. A lot of people were starting to develop in that area, a lot of new stores in that area. So while there are no popular cities like the ones that you named, because they're off little nothing roads in the middle of nowhere, but a lot of them still have an ocean view and they have the altitude. You know, like I was saying earlier, that's what's so great about Costa Rica. You can be down at the beach in no time, but live in the high altitudes of the mountains and be cool all the time. You know, and it never gets too cool. You know, he's saying he had to put on socks, but that's because we have our windows and doors open, you know.
Now there's the question, a clarification from Irina who says any chances for Zoom lessons, and yes, there are. So that's something you'd want to contact us, send an email, Irina. Yes, and in other words, what you're saying, some chances for a live one-on-one consultation. Yes, we could do those, and we could set that up for you, and then send you to the payment page where you can pay for that and arrange for that. but those are things that we can offer and help you with, if you're interested, okay? Lots of great comments. People just can't wait to have the forum, so lots of great comments on the forum.
Yes, I think that'll be very beneficial.
I really do. It will help so many people because...
And people that have certain interests. Like, we don't have school-age children, so we've not really had any experience with putting...
...his area for his first in December. Okay,
if you get close to where there's a gringo concentration of gringos in the community, they start, they have like a little home church or a little home Bible study.
But if you speak Spanish, not a problem.
Yep, not a problem.
That's right.
There's churches everywhere. In fact,
which is keep them short.
Looks
like we're back. Okay, so let's see. Oh, okay, good. Sloth in Costa Rica, and there's no hunting in Costa Rica. Okay. Bruce says we need a longer wire. That's neat. Okay, so let us know. Are y'all able to see us and hear us right now, okay? Just a good question. He says, any expats here? Honestly, feel a little bad even your home country. I'm struggling with this, but my wife is not. That's a good question, and I have to say that, James, I don't feel bad at all. I love my country. However, for many, many reasons, we love being in Costa Rica. The weather, the health. So there's a lot of things. I actually feel bad that the rest of my family can't come join me in Costa Rica. But like anywhere, there are things in Costa Rica that I don't like. But you know what? No matter where you go, there's things you don't like about where you live.
And as much as we like Costa Rica, there's some, people in our family that they wouldn't come. They like where they are. So it's kind of a personal decision.
Yeah. And, that's probably one of the biggest challenges about moving here. And we're seeing more and more people want to move to Costa Rica. However, the most important thing is finding out how to make a living while you're in Costa Rica. And really, it has gotten easier and easier to make a living in Costa Rica online, especially with this whole COVID thing. Many employers were forced to begin letting their employees work online. And soon, I hope to do a video that will talk about different methods and ways that you can make money online. I'm an internet nut, and we've been I've been living offline. Well, we've been married a little over 14 years, and since we've been married, I've been making all of our income online. There is a huge learning curve, and this video is not about telling you what to go do or sell you what I got, okay? But it is very much possible. But there's so much garbage on the internet and so many people just selling junk. And look, I bought a ton of junk over the years before I finally learned and found the right thing. And it really is, once you get to the learning curve, it really is easy to make money online. But it is a learning curve. It's like anything.
It's a learning curve, and it's not very dependable, I would say, especially if you're if you're in the area of sales. Because sales can go up and down.
That's right.
Things like a virus, can affect the sales, and so it's kind of difficult to rely solely on that.
Okay, and great question here. Someone says, hey, when it comes time to rent, is it difficult as far as credit, background checks, deposits? Boy, renting in Costa Rica is a lot of fun. It's so easy because nobody checks your credit. Hardly anybody asks for a deposit. The people that ask for a deposit or even a contract are only people who are experienced with gringos and a lot of gringos. Matter of fact, the last deposit, okay,
when we have given a deposit, sometimes we would not get
every house we've gone to, we always improve it. I'm always painting and fixing and all of that stuff, and I explain that to them. So most cases, you don't have that problem.
Right. Let me clarify. It's not because we did anything wrong that we didn't get our deposit back. It's because they just kind of don't give it.
No, they
and you
yeah.
can't, you really don't. That's something you have to consider. We're in a foreign country, and the legal system is not what you're used to in the United States.
Yeah.
There's no, if you're going to sue somebody here, you're looking at years before anything can come of
Yeah.
it, and they know that. And so it's pretty much, they know that you're not going to take anything to court,
Right.
And so there's advantages and disadvantages with that.
Yeah.
But
Another good question is,
let me
go
just
ahead.
say, also, the houses that we've rented have mostly been in the rural areas.
Yes.
So that's our experience.
That's
I
right.
really don't know, we don't know if in the city, maybe at a apartment.
Lots of Americans, so they probably are gonna, it's everyone. Most Ticos, I bet you 99% of the firearm, okay? And it makes it very difficult for anybody to have a firearm. You can go places and buy a BB gun, okay? I bought a BB gun. So you get a BB gun, that's not a firearm, I guess. But no, the firearms, that law is for everybody, okay?
But there are people that have guns. You just got to go
That's
through a
right.
process.
There is a process, and it's much more difficult now. Another good question, John Mask. I do see it looks like it's lightening up, but and I think, in my opinion, it's going to lighten up really quick. But I have no idea. I'm almost never wrong. I thought I was wrong one time, and I was only mistaken. So who knows what's going to happen? So. And yeah, you can easily rent for 3 months or 4 months. One place we rented for only a month and moved. So yes, it's not a problem for.
He's doing that. There's something that we will probably be mentioning on the video with the rental tips, that I'll mention it now, is that if you see a house that's for sale, don't be afraid to ask, they'll rent it.
Yes, very good point, because they're vacant and they would love to have someone renting it so that they can take care of the place, okay? And look, we'll mention a lot of other very good points as well about that, okay? Irina asked, how much emergency call in Costa Rica? I've never had an emergency, but they do have a 911 system where you call 911 for an emergency in Costa Rica. And the big thing is, I think it goes to their Red Cross. Red Cross comes out to take care of the emergency.
Now,
Yeah,
he did get picked up, and
That's
there is
right.
there is a cost. I don't know if the ambulance charged him anything, but he did have a fairly large hospital bill.
yeah. Now, okay, so I'm scanning through there, and if I haven't answered your question, please put it in the comment box right now, because we're nearing an hour. I can't believe it's already been almost an hour, and we want to try to keep it at least to an hour, because this will render and it will go back up live. And people just hate to see a long, hour-long video and watch it, but we want everyone to be able to benefit from this Q&A session. And hey, give us some feedback right now. Be sure to hit the thumbs up, like button, and let us know, hey, have you enjoyed this Q&A session? Is this something you would like for us to do maybe a little more often, and maybe on particular topics?
Right, that's true. We could hold a Q&A on a particular topic.
So please go ahead and put in the, go ahead and hit the thumbs up and put in the comment section there, in the chat box. Did you love, or did you enjoy, did you hate our Q&A today? So anyway, as I look, put your questions in here. Someone said, did they discuss phone and internet service? My T-Mobile sucks here. Okay, that's a good question. Yes, there are several different options in Costa Rica for internet, okay? In the rural areas, most of the time, the only option is going to be what's called EC. Looks like ICE, I-C-E, EC, okay? And that's the government-owned internet phone system, okay? And they're almost everywhere, with the exception of the very remote areas, okay? But, and the internet's just so-so. You have another option that's called Cable Tica. It looks like Cable Tica, and their internet is great, man. You can get fast ups and fast downs, okay? Fast upload and download. You have another, it's called Claro. Claro is very, very popular. However, you can ask the Ticos, most Ticos hate Claro. However, sometimes it's the only option, because it's internet that comes via their phone, and it's so populated. Most people in remote areas have it. So while you can get okay internet during the day, when everyone's home at 4 or 5 o'clock until bedtime, the internet is almost non-existent. So you can get internet. It's a challenge. Thank you so much,
Thank
Kelly,
you, Kelly.
For sharing with us and supporting us. We greatly appreciate it.
Up until just a few years ago, EC was the only provider of internet for the whole country, and then they opened it up to private businesses. So
Yeah.
there's more selection. There's more price.
Yeah. Now,
price options.
Claro, and I think one of the reasons they are very popular is that they really do send people out contacting everyone. And while they can't even handle the workload, they are constantly sending people out. And so, anyway, just so you know, I've never had a good experience with Claro. It's always
We
been
had
very
a bad
tough.
experience, but that was just our experience.
Yeah.
But she also asked about the cell phone service. Is that what she said, or phone?
Mm-hmm.
But cell phone service is very good
In
here
most
Costa
places,
Rica.
you got to keep in mind that Costa Rica's got hills and valleys, and so in
gotta
some
be
places it's not. But
in line with
in
the
most
tower.
places, though, they've got towers in so many places and getting better. So most of the time, the cell phone service is decent, and you can use your cell phone service as a hotspot in the event of an emergency with your internet. I've had to do that more than one time, okay? Okay, so I'm looking here. Lots of great comments. I really appreciate it.
Thank you all for the encouragement.
Okay. All right. Well, look, I think we're at the top of the hour, so you know what? We're going to go ahead and call it a day. Once again, I want to greatly thank everyone who gave us a monetized chat. Really, really do appreciate it.
And thank you to everybody who's been on the chat.
Everyone who's been on the chat, I just greatly appreciate every single one of you for being here, because it really does. Our goal is to help you, and your engagement, your comments, your questions, it just only helps us to be able to help you all that much more. So we greatly, greatly appreciate it. Keep in mind, there's always going to be things that are not good, but you know what? We tend to always look at the positive, and while we may have a bad experience, it doesn't do me any good to harp on the negative, because it's not going to change anything. But if I can honestly tell you, okay, well, look, I had a bad experience with Claro. Maybe your experience is great, but I don't have to talk bad about them. I can just share my experience.
Right, and just like with, I forget the person's name, but he's never been asked for a plane ticket. It's very common. You can get different requirements, different answers from different people. So
Yeah.
I think the forum will be good in that you can get responses from other people,
That's
people
right.
that live in different areas, in different circumstances.
Well,
it's possible that if he owns a home, whereas
Yeah.
we only rent.
That's
so
right. Well,
far-
you know what? That's what's going to be great about the forum. And I want to acknowledge there are expats online with us today, and they have been answering questions for me.
Oh,
and I want to say
great.
thank you so much. I greatly appreciate your help. And there's been several people in the chat box who have shared their email, and of course, I have to approve the ability for them to share it, and I have, because I greatly appreciate, I appreciate the expats that have been here helping me out. So, hey, I really, really do appreciate it, okay? Thank you, everybody, because y'all are sitting there helping each other on the chat, which only tells me a forum is just the next obvious step,
Right.
okay? All right. Okay, folks, look, we're at the top of the hour. I do want to say once again, thank you so very, very much. And Johnny says, hey, well, I'm not sure how to send a donation. Just look below the chat right there, and you'll see a little emoji. There's two emojis, a little face and a dollar sign right there. And at the chat, you can click on the dollar sign, and when you click on the dollar sign, it will let you give whatever you want. You can give $1, you can give $1 million. Give $1 million, I'll make sure to pick you up at the airport. Anyway, so that's how you do it. You just go down there and click the dollar sign, and it's just a monetized chat. So, hey, I greatly appreciate it. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Let me click on here. Irina says, hey, hi, everybody. Lots of people. Hey, thank you so much, okay? So, folks, I hope you really have enjoyed it. We will see you next week, and we should have a live video next Sunday. Hopefully, if the unexpected doesn't happen, we're going to be talking about those rental tips in Costa Rica. And of course, if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe, hit the notification button so you'll be notified of the next video that does go live. So, hey, y'all have a great one, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks again. We've enjoyed it. Ciao.
I think I have to hit the done.
Maybe so.
Are you sure you want to stop?